Greetings, you fucks. Anyway, we're at an elevation of about 1,800 feet, and you can see it's just one of the most barren landscapes I've ever seen here. This is in the northern part of Chile, near a little town called Arica. We're about, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes to the east of Arica, and it's going up as you go further east. You can see the rock here is primarily volcanic. We'll take a little gander at it. You can see they have a variety of what looks to be very unsustainable agricultural practices going on down there. You can see you see this in Baja, in Baja, California. Just agriculture that shouldn't really be there. Seems to mostly be olive trees. Not sure where they're getting their water, probably from the higher elevation Andes to the east. But take a look at the rock. Remember I was talking about the grain size here. We have a perfect example of what appears to be rhyolite, a higher silica style of volcanic rock that is extrusive igneous rock. You could, of course, see the grain size in there. Oh, there's a little bit of something. Primarily what you're going to get here is rhyolite and andesite. And, of course, andesite being more intermediate, more towards the basalt end of the spectrum. That is a little bit less silica than rhyolite. Remember, rhyolite's got about a 70% silica. Mixture basalt is about a 40% silica. But, again, looking at those the grain size there, it is relatively small. You could tell this is an extrusive igneous rock. It's one of the volcanics. I can't believe, and this is something I want to point out, how fucking barren this landscape is. I mean, it is the driest place. The Atacama is the driest place on Earth. We're, of course, we're probably, I don't know, 5 or 10 miles from the border of Peru. But rainfall here is almost entirely negligible. I mean, we're talking 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters a year, if that. You get a little bit closer to the ocean, you get a little bit more moisture in the form of fog and a condensation. But again, it's been a desert for a very long time. Basically, you get a permanent temperature inversion from the cold ocean current, that cold Humboldt current to the west. Anyway, we're gonna go see what else we got going on. Just want to take a little minute and show you this nice, just the completely barren escarpment of pure volcanic rock, high silica volcanic rock. So here we are about, I don't know, let's say 12 miles east of the Pacific Ocean in northern Chile. Completely barren landscape until just now. We're at about, again, 2,000 feet in elevation. And you can see it just seems to be volcanic sand, just sand derived from the weathering of volcanic rocks, possibly intrusive igneous rocks. I do see some rather large quartz grains on the top of the surface there, but again, there's been no plant life. Once we left any semblance of civilization, there's been no plant life here up until now. And again, what you see right now, aside from the garbage that our fellow human beings have been so kind to leave here for us, the only plant you see here is this Tillandsia species. Again, Tillandsia is the same genus as Spanish moss. It's a bromeliad. It's a relative of pineapple. But the thing that's interesting about the Tillandsia here is mostly when you encounter Tillandsias, they're going to be epiphytic. They're going to be growing on another plant, most often a tree. Sometimes they'll be lithophytic, growing on a rock. But they're going to have a general aerial habit. That is, they don't really have roots, at least not roots as you conventionally think of them in plants. The roots on Tillandsias are normally meant to just serve a purely functional purpose of helping the plant adhere to whatever the substrate is that it's growing on, whether it's a tree branch or a rock. But here we have a terrestrial species of Tillandsia. We have a Tillandsia that's actually just growing straight on the ground. And again, there is nothing else here. I have not seen any other annuals, not even any weeds, nothing. There's nothing can cut it in this environment except this Tillandsia. And you can see one of them is actually sending up a flower spike here. Now this species, I believe, is Tillandsia marconae. You can see, look at that flower spike. It's probably going to be a real nice banger when it's gone off. It looks like it's got a couple days left. Again, another thing about Tillandsia to notice, and anyone who's got any of the air plants or they sell them into the hipster boutiques and shit, in LA or the Bay Area or any of these, I think every major city in the United States is a hipster plant boutique selling one of these, and bless their hearts as long as they're purchasing them from an ethical source. But anyone who's familiar with these will know that the way that you water these is generally soaking them in the sink, and that's consistent with this species too. Again, the roots don't seem to be serving any functional purpose towards actually accumulating water, being that it never rains here. But what they do get here is a fog off the Pacific, and that again is what those trichomes, that rich layer of trichomes on that foliage is doing. Look at that. Trichomes are, of course, just epidermal hairs on plants, and they come in a variety of unrelated plant families and orders, but their general purpose can be both to absorb moisture, as in the case of Tillandsia, or to discourage herbivory, or sometimes you'll see a trichome topped by a gland, a gland that exudes some sort of resin that either traps insects, discourages things from eating them, or sometimes the oil it puts out will be toxic to insects. It'll be insecticidal, etc. But again, in Tillandsia, the purpose of the trichomes is primarily just to obtain moisture from the atmosphere, being that's their main source. I mean, in this genus, it's the main source of moisture is those trichomes on the leaf blades right there, not the roots. Another thing to note about this is that you can see they're just holding the soil together, and it makes you wonder, were these not here, how would the landscape look? Would most of this soil have blown away? Would it be just more of a hill? You could see where basically the wind has carved it out, leaving these mounds. But again, I can't believe this is the only thing growing here. I mean, it is so it is so fucking barren here. I mean, we're talking basically no rain at all. Just volcanic rocks and fog off the Pacific Ocean, which again is about 12 miles to the west right there. Okay, so taking a look through the hand lens at the ground right here, you dig beneath that, it's just more of the finer grained sand, but on top of that you see these I don't know what they would be, if that's just quartz crystals or some kind of feldspar. It doesn't look like something that would come out of volcanic rock. It looks a little bit larger grain, so maybe this is intrusive igneous. Some of the granites, some of the plutons, I don't know. But either way, those are pretty large mineral grains, whatever the shit that is. And then, of course, you just dig through there, and it's just very fine-grained. Beneath there, here's you can see where there's basically, I think what might be going on, okay, is that as the Tillandsia grows, it's basically fighting a war against being buried, or fighting a battle against being buried by the accumulation of the sediments over there. Either way, that's a goddamn weird plant, and it's a really freaky habitat going on there. Pretty wonderful. Okay, so looking out more on this pleasant moonscape we have, is a little example of the rock. You can see it's volcanic. It appears to have been somewhat mildly vesicular. That is, it had some gas bubbles in there. Again, probably rhyolite. We also have another form of photosynthetic life, though it's not a plant. It's this little crust. Now, the Atacama Desert is known for having a variety of different soil crusts, cryptobiotic crusts, lichens, cyanobacteria, etc. And, a lot of them, of course, are very important in stabilizing the soil and holding it together. And there's this little guy, probably just getting enough of the fog. Just enough of the fog to do his thing there. And then, of course, I'd assume they go dormant and then, just become reinvigorated with the slightest hint of moisture. But again, I mean, aside from that, it's just this heavily volcanic moonscape with just a smattering of garbage, human beings, of course, and really nothing growing on it. The somewhat sad thing to mention here is if we head over to this ridge, there's what's left of a now extirpated population of Ariosis cranziana. I think it goes by another name too, or it's synonymous with another name. I think it was Ariosis isliensis, Anyway, the point being here, though, is this is the southern limit of the range of this species. Now, Ariosis is a relatively common and diverse genus of cacti in the deserts here in South America. Mostly, this one was mostly in Peru. Again, this was the southern extent of its range, and this one I guess is now gone, but there's still, you can find the skeletons here, which is what I'm going to show you right now. What's left of the only Chilean population of Ariosis cranziana. Ariosis is known for having the tubercles with somewhat recessed areoles. So areoles are where the spines come out of, and in Ariosis, those areoles recess a little bit into the individual tubercles. Those individual tubercles, of course, you can see right there. It's just, you know, this is, I mean, there's even some spines left. But overall, this is all that's left of this plant. Who knows how big this one was, huh? Anyway, the interesting thing, though, that again is worth noting is, you know, the importance of fog here. In the desert where it doesn't rain, it almost never rains, fog is going to be the main nourisher here. Fog is going to be the main source of moisture. And so that's why, at least this population seemed to be growing right next to this ridge, because that cool moist air tends to flood the valleys first, and then of course as it accumulates it'll come billowing up over the ridge here. And so that's why you're getting both the lichen here, and that's why you did get this now extirpated, that is locally extinct Ariosis cranziana. Again, who knows how long, who knows how old this guy must have been. This one is little. It was probably, I mean, I can't even begin to I mean, it's it's gotta grow so slowly here, because again, there's no moisture. I mean, this is the most barren, dry desert, you know, especially you go south of here, just exceptionally dry. The most barren, dry desert probably on planet Earth. And it's also one of the oldest too. I mean, there have been studies of sediment deposits that this desert it's been a desert on the west coast of South America here since the Jurassic, some people theorize. You know, because again, the main thing that's causing that inversion layer, that basically a permanent inversion layer, a permanent high pressure system that keeps the storms away, keeps any precipitation away, is dictated by both the lack of any continental landmass to the west and those cold Humboldt currents coming up from the south, both of which have been here for a very, very long time. That's why the conditions that have created this desert here, you know, have basically existed for a long time. So that's why you get, it's been like this. It's been like this for millions upon millions of years. So again, anything that can cut it here has obviously been passed through the filter of evolution, you know, to be extremely fine-tuned and adapted to the lack of rain, the intense lack of rain, as well as, you know, especially you get higher, very cold temperatures. Anyways, I'll shut the fuck up. Let's go look at more at the Tillandsia, which you can see over there on that little hill. You can just see lines of them growing up there. Come down here and check this one out. Now this almost looks like a different species, you know. This looks a little bit more diminutive, a little bit more fluffy. Feels a little bit fluffier, but without a flower, it's hard to say. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say this is a different species. So two species of Tillandsia being the only thing that's growing, and this we're roughly about 1,000 meters up now. Oh yeah, look at the flowers. There's some dried flowers on them. Again, terrestrial, just forming these little tufts in the volcanic sand. Edges of those leaf blades curled inward a little bit. Oh yeah, look at the trichome zanate, glistening like tinsel. This is completely different from the one that we just seen over there, further to the west. It's much narrower, smaller leaves, and here you can see it's moving. These are basically roots that are left over. It's proceeded to grow down slope. So, and this one again is not flowering. The other ones are on the verge of flowering. This one is pretty much done flowering. The flowers are mostly dried and the fruits are almost maturing. So the phenology is different too. So you got two different species of Tillandsia being the only thing growing on this extremely barren slope right here. Look at this. It appears to be some vesicular basalt. Ah, it's nice. Just how did that get there? It looks, could it be a volcanic bomb? I don't know how else it would have been deposited here. Perhaps ejected out of a distant volcano sometime in the either recent or distant past. I mean, I don't know how volcanically active this area of the Andes is, but you do have the Nazca Plate subducting beneath the South American continent to the west of here, you know, at a rate of roughly 65 millimeters a year. So that's, I don't know, that's about, looking at my middle finger, yeah, that's just about below my fingertip, which is, that's really fast. You know, you get the San Andreas, you get the North American and Pacific plate moving past each other at about 35 millimeters per year. So 65 millimeters per year is almost double that. That's pretty goddamn fast. I guess there's a triple junction south of here where the Nazca Plate meets the Antarctic Plate. Again, look at this thing. Just holding that soil together. With, I mean, it's not really soil, it's just sand. It's just sand over a rock, over volcanic rock, but get up close, you can see those flowers basically done. I can't see if there's, you got some fruits. You can see that Tillandsia was growing all over. But just the roots still left. And again, who knows how old, how long ago. Hey, there you go, get up close and personal. Look how flaky and papery those trichomes are. Now, you always hear weed growers talking about trichomes. I guess few people probably know, at least few people that are into plants, know that there, you know, many different species, families, orders of plants have trichomes on them, of course. Remember, those are just basically, I guess just basically hairs is a way to put it. Obviously, in the case of cannabis, each one of those hairs is topped by a gland that produces the resin that some of you might be enjoying as you watch this. Are you enjoying your bong rip? But, you know, not every trichome has a gland on it. You know, Tillandsia, of course, the whole genus is, I think almost every species in the genus has got trichomes. Here, I mean, you can really see them here. And this is a rather extreme case. You know, not all Tillandsia has got trichomes like this. This is obviously a very drought-adapted one. And it's why, you know, it's a hard concept to grasp, you know. Say you give your aunt a quote air plant, and you know, 6 months later she's annihilated it because she doesn't know how to take care of it. You know, it's like, it's a hard concept to grasp. The whole watering a plant by its epidermal tissue, not by its roots. Also, just thinking of how these things, Jesus Christ, look at that. I don't know how close this thing will let me get before it starts fucking around and obscures the image, but there you go. Just thick, you know, thick coating of these scales. And again, the trichomes here are scale-like. They're not like hairs as you might see in some of the species from areas that aren't as dry as the northern Atacama Desert. Scattered amongst the basalt cobbles, it appears to just be a fine powder with these strange formations in it. Not sure if that's caused by the fog or what. It certainly does seem abiotic. It's a strange texture to the soil. You can see why, you know, they've used this as a why they've used segments of the Atacama Desert is a good place to test, I guess, using it as a model for Mars. I mean, I've never seen anything this barren, you know, and I've fucked around in the Mojave Desert, in the Colorado Desert plenty, but this is certainly the most barren landscape I've ever been to. Again, you could just see that Tillandsia, probably the smaller leaved one of the two species that we've seen today. Just that Tillandsia and nothing else. Well, so look at this mineral right here. Could this be that sodium nitrate? Or some sort of caliche? Something that's precipitating out. It's a very soft material. It's nice to see a little bit of variation away from the basalt and the volcanic sand. So look at that. The Tillandsia are terracing this hillside, this slope. And again, they tend to be growing downslope, which would make sense. Growing downslope with the gravity, and then of course leaving behind a mat of dead roots. But you can see they're basically holding this hillside together. And the only thing growing here, they got a monopoly on a photosynthesis. Aside from that little lichen we've seen on the ground, these are the big jammers for the area. There's nothing else around there. Not even any desert annuals, nothing. And not even any evidence of desert annuals. There's not any dead plant material anywhere except for that Areocytes we've seen over there on that ridge. Again, the extirpated population, Areocytes cranseriana, and this. So this monocot, this member of the order of grasses, Poales, this Tillandsia, is the only thing growing, Jesus Christ, at least as far as I can see. And I can see pretty far. So Tillandsia has kind of got a hold down on this habitat, on this precipitation regime. Or rather, I guess you could call it a lack of a precipitation regime, since the area doesn't really get any precipitation. Most of their moisture, almost all their moisture, comes in the form of fog. And Tillandsia is really the plant that's, the organism that's best suited towards catching that moisture and putting it to use, being that the entire genus doesn't really rely on its roots to absorb moisture. Again, you see Tillandsias, they're entirely of the Americas, but you see Tillandsias, they're almost never going to be using their roots for moisture. Their roots are just used to anchor them in place. They mostly rely on those trichomes. And the trichomes act is almost the perfect catchment device in an area where almost all your moisture comes in the form of fog. So really, I mean, Tillandsia does it better than anybody else. That's why they're the only plant here, and they appear to be thriving. I mean, they're flowering, they're producing seed. You know, two species here. And if they're not two species, they're certainly different enough to at least be a variety of the other one. I mean, very different when you get up close and look at them, and a different phenology too. One is just starting to flower, the other is already done flowering and producing seed. There's more of that crust. Look at this guy. God damn, you know, I wish I knew more about these, but I don't. But they're fucking fascinating. You know, you think that's a cyanobacteria or an alga in there. You got the fungal partner, maybe a yeast, and then you got either an algae or a cyanobacteria in there as well. Get another nice money shot of this fucker. What a beautiful man. What a beautiful man. Anyway, you're not supposed to anthropomorphize plants, but I tend to do it from time to time. So anyway, that's all I got for you tonight. Tillandsia being the only thing thriving here in the foothills of the northern Andes Mountains in the northern Atacama Desert, about, 12 miles east of the Pacific Ocean. That's all I got for you tonight. Have a lovely evening. Go fuck yourself. Bye.